Hi, my name is Doug Mueller, and the next section that we're going to cover in our video series is some of the connections that we're going to make, the air hose, the electrical, and the breathing circuit. Okay, so on the cart, you'll notice that we have the incoming air hose. It's about 20 feet long, so you want to make sure that your machine is close enough to your source of oxygen or whatever gas it is that you're using. You're going to need 11/16 inch wrench to make the connection for this. So we're going to hook this up to our air source and then we'll go from there. This is our test panel that we hook up all our systems to when we're testing them. Just want to tighten that down with your 11/16 inch wrench. And then we're going to turn this up to 60 psi, which is the minimum that we recommend on the machine. Just to get you familiar with the settings on this gauge. This is the exact same gauge that we use in our Mallard system. Right now I have it at 60 psi, so the highest we're going to be able to turn up our system is right about where that needle is. It'll make sense when we go over there and look at that, but okay, so first thing I want you to notice is on the back here, we have a gauge. This tells us what our incoming pressure is. As you know, it's coming through this hose into this block. And it says pretty close to 60 psi, which is what we have it set to. Plus or minus 10% is good. So that looks good. Okay, and up here is our gauge. You'll see what's different about this gauge and our test setup gauge is you see letters on here instead of numbers. There's actually a label over top, the exact same type of gauge. So 50 psi is about the 12 o'clock position, 60 psi is about the 1 o'clock position. So since we only have 60 psi coming into the cart, we're not going to be able to turn it up any further than that. So as I turn it up, you'll notice that it stops right about there, and we can't turn it up anymore. Once it stops, the needle stops moving, you don't want to keep turning this because you could damage this over time. From turning it too much. Now, if you want to get more pressure, if you want more flow rate, a higher flow rate here, so that you can turn it up even higher, you're going to have to increase what's coming into the cart from, say, 60 all the way up to 100 psi. Then you'll be able to move this flow rate all the way down to here, so the needle will go into the H region, so low, medium, high. Okay, so I'm going to turn it up all the way, and I'm going to stop right there. Okay, so that's our air coming into the machine, and that's all set. So the next thing we're going to do is we're going to plug in the electrical. We have a cord on the back here. It's got a place where it's wrapped onto the cart. Just undo that, and then we'll plug it into our 120 line. This control box features, you can put 120 or 240 into it. It automatically switches over for you, so that's not a problem. The only difference is going to be you're going to probably have to have an adapter to our 120 plug. So right now this is on standby. If we turn it off, then it goes off, of course, and then that's on standby. And there's different settings. We will get into the other settings at another time, but for now we're going to focus on the connections. So the next thing we're going to connect up is the breathing circuit. We already have our breathing circuit, this end of it, attached to our patient. We actually have another bellows that is acting as our patient. You probably have a breathing bag that you would use for this same setup, but we have this patient already set up. So you're going to take these hoses and you're going to kind of do an up and down motion and pushing on at the same time. You're going to want them to go on about 1.5 inches. If you go too far, you'll feel the two metals inside here kind of click together. You know you've gone far enough. That went on pretty easy. You have a newer machine, so it might take a little bit more force to put them on. But that's the last connection before we're ready to run the machine. And that's it.